objective for this country. You have chosen for discussion democracy. Is it failing in Africa? Are we talking of democracy, or are we talking of Western liberal democracy? I will not preempt what Bishop Kuka will be saying. But when we talk of democracy, we should remember that in Africa, before the colonial rule and the colonial power, we have a form of government which attended to the needs of our people. And whatever you call it, to me, it is democracy. Because what is democracy about? The American President Abraham Lincoln defined it as government of the people, by the people, for the people. Democracy is meant to be a system of government that delivers, and delivers to all the people, not just a section of the people, not just a few. But what do we have today? I believe since we gone past the Greek democracy, which brought everybody to the square, and everybody has a say in the decision making, which affects everybody.
Barrister, sorry, I had to cut that. So it plays up to 5 minutes. But the bottom line of that, Obasanjo was, though this is not the first time he's saying this, Obasanjo categorically and clearly said, he has said it before, that democracy is not for Africa. It shouldn't be for Africa, and particularly for Nigeria. This is what I have been singing about for years. From day one, I have never been a believer of democracy. I've always seen democracy as an alien system of government. It is a Western government way of governance. It is their culture. They initiated it. They introduced it to their own system and gave it their own definition. So everything about democracy is Western. It is not. Obasanjo said it earlier, sometimes last year or last 2 years or whatever, that Nigeria should create, we should have our own system of government. He wasn't clear about he didn't proffer any specific solution to it, but in clear terms, he said, rightfully so, that democracy is not for us. It will not work. You and I have agreed on this, that it will not work in our system. It is not built for our culture, and as a result, we should create something that is different from the Western way of life. In my own opinion, which is factual, that democracy, especially in the Nigerian context, all democracies are too expensive. That is the reality. Both in Nigerian context, anything democracy, because it means that you will have to be funding, especially when National Assembly is involved. That means you'll be funding National Assembly. That National Assembly is involved. That is special funding. And when it comes to Nigeria, the funding of National Assembly, we know how corrupt it is, how over-bloated it is. So it is too expensive and it is too sluggish for my liking. I hate democracy because it is too expensive and too sluggish for my liking. Sluggish in the sense that even if you have a president who is so patriotic and wants to do the right thing, just like what is happening in the US now with Donald Trump, you have the National Assembly trying to either sabotage or frustrate the president's effort, as against a military head of state who just gives a command and everybody carries it out. We just gave an example of what is happening in Burkina Faso today. In 2 years, Burkina Faso, look at the list of things, that list of positive achievements of the current head of state, Traoré. just because he's, and you and I agree that if he were to be a military civilian government or a democratically elected government, that obviously 2 years he couldn't have achieved not 1/4 of that. Not if there is anything he could have achieved even. So, Barrister, what is your thoughts on what Obasanjo said?
Well, you and me have discussed this issue of democracy in Nigeria on several occasions. My views are well known. I have said repeatedly that the system of government we are operating now is not suitable to us, cannot work. We are pretending to have a democracy. We do not have the democracy. And that is why I have not shied away from calling it fraudulent and fake. What we are operating in Nigeria is a fake and fraudulent democracy. If you look at the definition of Abraham Lincoln that Obasanjo quoted, although I disagree with him in a way because he dwelt on the delivery as opposed to the participation by the people. You have to come from the participation, government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Therefore is the delivery. The people must participate in that government. And the whole underlying issue is the rule of law. There must be the rule of law instead of the rule of man. That means that even the highest person, the president, is under the law, agreed to, what we call ground norm, agreed to by the collective, in this case, the constitution. The problem with Nigeria is the bastardization of that ground norm, of that constitution, and the lack of respect for the rule of law. Nobody in Nigeria today has respect for the law. Not the Supreme Court of all people, of all organs. One would expect that the Supreme Court would be the first branch or agency to defend the Constitution and the rule of law in Nigeria. But alas, we have seen something different. Not the politician, not the executive, not even the legislator that makes the law themselves. They don't have respect for that law. So in that atmosphere, we cannot in all conscience say that we are operating democracy. We certainly are not. Because the Nigerian president is almost like a king.
That is it.
Let's face it, he's almost like a king, and he's operating powers of a king. So let's not pretend that we have a democracy properly so-called. Now, a lot of people are beginning to realize that this thing is not working. And you see Obasanjo coming out again and again. Other people are also realizing that this thing is not working for us, and it will not work. I have gone further in the past to say that the atmosphere, the factors that will make democracy to work in Nigeria are not present. One of which is, and I always come back to it, an enlightened electorate that understand what the vote means, because the whole democracy means the vote. Let's say one man, one vote.
Yeah.
And I always give a background. In Britain, where we draw most of our things from, for a long time, the vote was not given to everybody. The vote was given to the nobility, to the educated people, to people who had property, who had property rights. It was not a come or affair. In one way, you can say it's wrong, but in another way, it is a way of shifting and ascertaining that those who vote understand the meaning, the consequences, and benefits of the vote. Even in the US, for instance, up to 1960, blacks and women were not allowed to vote, particularly women. Women achieved voting rights in the US in the 60s. What I'm saying is that where you give the vote to everybody and say in a country that is 98% illiterate, whose inclinations.
90, no, 90,
But
no, 98. What do you mean by 98%? We are not 98% illiterate, man. Are you? That's not wrong. That's not right. That's not correct.
what you are what? How many percentage can you categorize Nigeria?
Honestly, I don't know the
I
record,
will
but
categorize.
man, what?
I have reason. I have reason
98%
to say that.
illiterate. That's not true. I
Yes,
don't agree with that.
I have reason for saying that, because in reality, the illiterate is even better than the half literates. Let me tell you.
Oh, okay.
The people who think they know, but who are actually more ignorant than those who accept that they don't know. So if you put these two groups together, you can say that we are
Okay,
about
that sounds
98%
logical.
illiterate. What I'm driving at is that where you come to install democracy, the vote, and you come to somebody and say, don't vote for person because it's not from your religion, it's not from your tribe, it's not from your part of the country, and you can convince those people easily on those primordial instincts, there is no enlightened electorate. That democracy cannot be effective, because what is driving the vote is not the competence, it's not for development, it's not for delivery for the people, but those primordial instincts which politicians will always cash in. So if you don't have that enlightened electorate that understand the vote, it's difficult for this democracy to be internalized and to eventually work. That is the reason we produce the kind of leaders we have today. That is the reason why we have illiterate people in the House of Assembly, in the National Assembly, who cannot understand the language in which business is conducted in the National Assembly.
Honestly.
But they are there as members. So you see the problem. Now, when you talk about what should we do, I heard Obasanjo saying that before the colonialists came, there were systems of government. That is where I disagree with him to a certain extent.
I do.
I disagree. I cannot identify any coherent system of government that we can talk about. We had kings and rulers who exercised maximum power, even of life and death, over the citizens. The emir could order you to be killed. The Obas could order you to be killed. In the whole Nigeria, you can only identify two tribes, to my knowledge, that were totally Republican, had no kings. You can talk of the Igbos, you can talk of my people.
Yeah.
We didn't have kings. We had a system of rulership by elders. In your family, the elders will take decision. In the clan, the elders of the clan jointly.
Yeah.
Up to that level. But elsewhere, the Oba of Benin, the Obas in the southwest, the emirs, they had power of life and death. They had power over the land, over economic activity, over everything. I do not think that system of government, we should fall back to that system of government. The suggestion by Obasanjo that before the colonials came, we had system of government that served us. That is where I disagree with him. Those systems did not serve us. They did not serve, they impoverished the people, they made the people slaves in their own communities. So I do not, that is not to say that we cannot come together and fashion out
of course, our own
a system that will work even today, and with the benefit of enlightenment, with the benefit of the knowledge that we have today. It is not impossible. In fact, it's very achievable. If we come together, take benefit of what used to be in the past, what is present, and where we need to be, we can then fashion out a system that will thrive, will be suitable to our needs, even if it is from place to place. It does not at one level have to apply throughout the country. But then at the national level, we can still fashion out a system that will work for all of us. But this democracy is not working, and it will not work, and it will not deliver the progress and the benefits that we require.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Okay, that being said, let's move to the next topic, Barrister. All right, let me play this video, another new video. So then we'll come back and talk about the content.
Of a person. Give a person power and money. That's the only time you can know his true character. Wike, by all standards, was a tout in the motor park. Everybody knows that. Before he eventually became chairman of the local government. That was actually the beginning of his political career. Which chairmanship he was sponsored by by godfathers. He later became the chief of staff to Amechi. Before Jonathan made him a minister of state for education. He betrayed the people who sponsored him for chairmanship of his local government. He betrayed Amechi, who made him chief of staff. He betrayed Jonathan, who made him a minister. You can see President Jonathan, who held his hand and gave him to Odili, who was then the godfather of Rivers politics, to make him a governor. There's no abuse that Wike has not been abusing Peter Odili today. Honestly. There's nothing that he has not, a verbal abuse of Peter Obi. Whom has he not betrayed? He has betrayed everybody. And now you brought somebody to government house. You are boasting that you are the one that put him and he must do as you please. Did he do as the people who made him local government chairman? Did he do as the people who made him the governor of River State? He abused them. He said they should go to her, that he cannot do with a godfather. But he's doing the same thing. That is the nature and the hypocrisy of an average Nigerian politician. He only thinks of himself. And in this quest to gain power and money, there are no boundaries. There's nowhere they can stop. There's nobody. I can bet you his marriage with Tinubu at a point is going to crash.
Yes.
And let God spare our lives. We'll be here to hear what you will say against Tinubu then. This is a person that said he does not want to be a minister. He can never, there are videos say he can never be a minister after being governor. What is he looking for as minister? He said it repeatedly. But today, he accepted to be a minister. He is a minister. Everything he has said, he has subsequently countermanded it and said the opposite. So he is a person without character, without shame, and without dignity. These things don't matter to him as long as he is pulling his way and going for where he thinks he's going forward. For the present, he has power to intrigue, to disrupt a river state because of his alliance with the president. And he's cherishing that power and exercising it to the fullest. He gave Fubara 2 conditions to settle the river state issue. One of them was that Fubara should write a written undertaking that he will not contest for governor in 2027. The second condition was that Fubara should allow him appoint the chairman of local governments in River State. Those were the 2 conditions he gave for peace to reign. Can you beat that? You are a minister governing Abuja, and the governor is in River State. You want to control all the grassroots, the local government, and you want the governor to give you an undertaking, a written one, that he will not recontest for governor in 2027. How arrogant and hypocritical. Could anybody have even broached the idea that Wike should not contest for the second term? I'm sure you will hear the kind of crude abuse that he will throw at that person. So Nigerian politicians do not have respect. They do not have dignity. They do not have character. More or less, as I said, the system, because of its inadequacies, throws up charlatans and crude people into positions of power in the country, and the result is what we see. Nobody is satisfied with what is going on because this kind of people have got access and have taken power.
Yeah, it's so sad. It's so sad. Honestly, two of them, you just compared him rightly with Rufai. They have so many things in common. Both of them have beaten the fingers and fed them. Both of them have insulted and are still insulting people that even took them to where they are today. And both of them are hypocrites. It's sort of, when I watched this video, I just shook my head. I said, how hypocritical can someone be? This is the epitome, the epitomization of hypocrisy. That is just the reality. We can criticize Bola Tinubu for being the godfather of Lagos State, and even advise Ambode to oppose him, to stand against Bola Tinubu. This same Wike is the one now fighting to be the godfather of Rivers State. This is hypocrisy at the highest level. Just like you noted, he has literally betrayed everyone as he climbed everyone that actually gave him a platform through the ladder to actually climb up to the ladder, up to the point on the ladder where he is today. This is just that man is just like a Rufai. Both of them, they have moral decadence that is endemic in their lives. It's a kind of perpetuated both moral and political decadence in their entire life. They are depraved. That's just the reality. That is the sum up word that is right for them. They are both depraved. This is just unbelievable. And what are we talking about? Even Wike's friend, the president, Bola Tinubu, the same thing. Best of the same feather flock together. Bola Tinubu himself is as a hooligan as his godson. I won't say they are even. I won't even say it's his godson, but at least that's for the purpose of this. I just consider him to be godson. So they are just birds of the same feather, and just like rightly noted, this same Wike again, two of them will clash because after 2027 there will become a clash of interest. For instance, I told you earlier, I noted earlier, I said it to all the audience, for those of you who didn't watch that episode, that the interest that Bola Tinubu and Wike has different interests in Rivers State. Both of them have different interests. Their interest is not, they don't have common interests. What Bola Tinubu is pursuing in Rivers State is different from what Wike is pursuing. Bola Tinubu is pursuing for a short-term. What is his aim is a short-term benefit. Wike is a long-term benefit. He wants to replicate what Bola Tinubu is doing in Rivers State, in Lagos State. Exactly the same power play. That is just the reality. And unfortunately, we'll see how it plays out. After that is if God allows 2027 election to take place. After that 2027 election, we see Bola Tinubu and Wike, their fight will be very fierce. And the same thing that Wike did to everyone, all the fingers that fed him, he would bite the same finger. Only God knows how many fingers this time around, how many fingers he will bite in when it comes to Tinubu. Other fingers, he bought one of their fingers. When it comes to Tinubu, only God knows how many. Maybe he will bite the whole fingers off of Tinubu's fingers off. That is just the reality. Anyway, let's move to the next topic.